Hello and welcome to Frank's School on this 18th day of my third year. First video. I guess I would call this driving across Minho, or details of driving across Minho from Braga, from the south to the north. Driving across Minho as opposed to driving through Minho, which we were doing in a prior video. It reminded me of the train, what I saw from the train last year, which was a lot of the reason I went back to Portugal, because from the train I saw that landscape. And now we're up on a highway and up high, and once again you could sort of see down, not quite so much so as from the train, but you could see down into the yards and the quintais is what they were. I would keep the mouse on pause. I'd kept it right over the pause button because I kept stopping to look closer at the details. This was for study. And I had suggested, I think yesterday or in the last video, that more of the world could look like this, I think. Garden, just all gardens. As a matter of fact, there weren't very many towns. I mean, the houses are all spread out because the houses are sitting in their quintais, in their 5-acre or so gardens. Minho, no lawns though. I don't think you saw at any point out across there, did you at any point see a lawn or riding a lawnmower? I mean, the American way is to, as I said before, is to have mowed grass and ride around. But there's none of that. Now Minho is poor. It's the poorest part of Portugal, I believe, and Portugal is one of the poorest countries in Europe. So you're looking at very poor people, and yet the landscape is so beautiful. So in a sense, I want to say, but are they really rich? Well, there's probably little cash. Those quintais are very much like subsistence farms. I mean, they grow their food, and you don't think of subsistence farmers as being very rich. They just don't have much of a cash economy. That could be the case. If or when I ever go back there, I really want to go to a market to see how the market economy, the weekly or monthly, probably weekly market, fits into that whole economy. Obviously there's hard work. You don't get a landscape that looks like that from just sort of sitting around and looking at it. That represents a lot of hard work, and so much of it handwork. At one point we stopped, and this was just serendipity. It was just by accident. We happened to see a sign that said agricultural school, and I thought, whoa, agricultural school. That's why I'm in Minho, to study their agriculture. And so we drove up the road and eventually found it. You can pause and see exactly what the name of it. It was in Ponte de Lima. Ponte de Lima, or Ponte de Lima, I think was the city. Anyway, we didn't stop, we didn't go in, we just kind of turned around and came back out. But I'm glad I found that, because it's occurred to me that, as strange as it may seem, I could imagine a school like that having a foreign relations department. How do you deal with the rest of the world? Because maybe I could imagine going there to see about them exporting their knowledge, almost as ambassadors for the kind of farming that I saw there. So, I mean, as a matter of fact, I could even tell you now, Roger, I wish he were here. He's about to knock my plants off. Come on, Roger, don't do that. You might hear a crash. No, he made it. Even here in Bedford, I have been talking to a man who's thinking about what he will do with a piece of property for tourist potential, really. And I said, well, if you want to have it farmed, the most beautiful farming I ever saw, and of great interest, well, I'll go to Minho and see if I can find a young couple to come here and do that. All right, enough on that. At one point I say, that was an aqueduct. Well, there were two. The aqueduct that I'm talking about is the water is carried right on top of the wall that's separating fields. You can see it. But there's another aqueduct. There's a second one that's not quite so well. It's on little pillars. So you might miss that. And when I say that Spain was crossed out and Galicia was written, that the independence movement isn't dead, well, the language in Galicia is not Spanish. It's Galician, and much closer really to Portuguese than Spanish. And that's what I saw. It was graffiti. Somebody said, no, you're not coming into Spain, you're going into Galicia. I'm pretty careful to refer to it as Galicia out of respect for that. Now in the second video, there's two more coming. In the second one, which I call Finding Picon and Folon, there are some very narrow streets in Aguarda. I don't think that really captures it. Perhaps in the next day, tomorrow or whenever, perhaps I'll have more filming of those narrow streets. Those streets were not meant for cars. I'm glad we got at least a little bit of that, because Shirley was driving through these little tiny streets. We had a little tiny car, otherwise you couldn't have done it. I also wanted to say that we were lost. A lot of the time we were lost. It was not easy to find the Picon and Folon. And this was an adventure. This was exploratory. All right, Roger, here you are. You made it here. Say hi, and we'll see you then tomorrow.